Topping today's news, the Commissioner of Police addressing recent criminal activity, the Minister of Transport and Housing sharing some of the highlights in her budget, children born to Bahamian fathers and foreign mothers to soon get their passports, and another group of human smugglers caught off Saunders Beach. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. The man who police believe to be involved in the heinous beating and sexual assault of an 83-year-old female on Sunday while at her home on Market Street is currently in police custody, assisting officers with their investigation. Also in police custody today is the man responsible for the sexual assault of a woman in the Davis Street area last week. Giving an update on both matters is Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda, who informed that both men were out on bail for similar crimes.
We have an adult male in custody who we know was arrested shortly after. He is being monitored and he is on bail for similar offense. He is assisting police with that investigation. Also, the matter that occurred last week, Friday, where a young lady was sexually assaulted in the Davis Street area. He is also assisting police with that investigation. When detectives went to his home, jewelries that were taken from that incident was located and identified by the victim. So we know that we are on the right track with respect to the individual. And we continue to say that the culprits who continues like a revolving door. This is an individual who should not have been on bail because he went back in his old ways.
Commissioner Fernanda says it is time to get it right and pleads with the justice system in the Bahamas. The police commissioner is calling it a revolving door of repeat offenders. He extends his sentiments to the victims.
And I'm pleading for the system. We need to get it right because it's the same revolving door. We see the same individuals continue to offend. My heart is heavy today for the elderly lady, all of the victims that continue to hit home to my heart because I have a mom who is around that same age. All of the victims. I have instructed the victim support unit, the domestic violence unit, to reach out to the family of the victim.
Some $750,000 worth of suspected cocaine now in custody of the Drug Enforcement Unit, the DEU, and 21 people are in custody following a collaborative effort between the Police Marine Unit, DEU, the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, OPAT, and the K9 Unit. Law enforcement agents working hand in hand on Tuesday resulted in the seizure of 39 kilos of cocaine and the arrest in Bahamian waters sometime around 10 p.m. Preliminary reports indicate that it was at that time that officers from the Police Marine Unit were on routine patrol in waters just west of Saunders Beach as they were acting on intelligence. Subsequently, they intercepted a white 30-foot cuddy cabin vessel. It was on examination of that Bahamian registered vessel that officers discovered 18 foreign nationals and 3 Bahamian males. Included in that group were 11 females, 4 males of Ecuador, and 1 female and 2 male Chinese nationals.
12 Ecuadorians, 3 Chinese nationals, and 3 Bahamian adult males. They were found on board a vessel just west of the harbor. And we believe that it was destined for the U.S. A search was conducted and 32 kilos of cocaine was recovered in a concealed compartment on this vessel along with illegal immigrants. They are presently in custody. We believe it was in the same place where known drug traffickers. So you can see the drug traffickers now, they're involved in human trafficking as well. So it's just the same revolving door in the same place. So that matter is pretty much active. and we are working that closely with our U.S. partners.
These foreign nationals were handed over to the Bahamas Department of Immigration. Investigations continue into that matter. Included in the marijuana legislation is a decriminalization framework that would decriminalize a small amount of the substance. This coming from Attorney General Senator Ryan Pinder while giving an update on the marijuana legislation. He says public consultation is about to commence or begin, and presentations outlining a medical and religious use regime, they've got to be taken to Cabinet.
Cabinet has authorized public consultation to commence. We look to launch that shortly after independence. It'll take place probably 2 months. We want to be thorough. We want to go to all constituents that matter and that are interested and that have opinions on this. We want to ensure that we have widespread consultation through the Family Islands. We want to talk to the medical community, let them weigh in. We want to talk to the religious community, let them weigh in. We certainly want to talk to the agriculture and agribusiness community and let them weigh in. So this is going to be pretty widespread, very organized, very well. Have a social media and a digital component to it, as well as in-person consultations. We have the website created with all of the legislation.
He says following consultation, a decision will be made on recreational use of marijuana in the Bahamas.
Well, we're certainly going to take feedback from the public on recreational. This is why we do the consultation. We have chosen to put a regime out of medical and religious use in the first instance, and we will see what the consultation is going to be widespread. So we will listen to the consultation. With respect to decriminalization, there is a decriminalization framework within what we're going to be releasing in July that would effectively decriminalize a smaller amount. And treat it effectively like a traffic ticket.
Attorney General Pinder goes on to say that the reason for this lengthy process is because the marijuana legislation is a compendium of regulations and rules that each require specific attention.
And that's why it's taken some time, because we just didn't want to throw a bill out there. We do that quite often, especially with big things. We do a bill and then we don't do the regulations, and it kind of lingers a little bit. So we want to make sure it was fully comprehensive in what we're trying to do.
In their blueprint for change, the Progressive Liberal Party pledged to develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for growing, harvesting, and exporting cannabis so that the industry creates opportunities for many and not just for a few. The Attorney General says he cannot provide a timeline for when the legislation will be introduced in Parliament. As the budget debate continues in the House of Assembly this morning, Minister of Transport and Housing, JoBeth Colby-Davis, spoke on plans in the budget with regards to housing. She says $3.2 million is for the current expenditure, $1.8 million for subdivisions. She says the government is looking forward to giving keys to new homeowners on family islands in the very near future.
Plans for the budget period include, Madam Speaker, our plans include the opening of Ocean Hole subdivision in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, and the presentation of keys to qualified and deserving homeowners. And I want to say that we were working very hard, and I'm going to say this because I need to make sure my people in Eleuthera understand their colleague working hard for them. We were working hard to give this key presentation out. We tried for yesterday, and then we were trying for Monday, because our homes are ready. Our homes are ready. We're having schedule conflicts right now.
Colby-Davis took the opportunity to list some of the accomplishments of the Department of Housing under the Davis administration.
Through partnership with the Bahamas Mortgage Corp, 6 homes of the island of Abaco have been identified for the launch of a place to call home, a rent-to-own initiative. We are starting in Abaco, and Abaco, you in the same position as Eleuthera. Once we get that date that works for us all, we will be handing out keys for the rent-to-own program.
On Grand Bahama, the minister revealed that they are completing the acquisition of 18 lots with work expected to begin soon after, in addition to possibly another 100 lots in the Heritage subdivision on Grand Bahama expected to begin work as well. The National Insurance Fund is projected to lose some $97 million this year alone and could be depleted by 2028 based on an actuarial report, according to the minister with responsibility for the National Insurance Board, Miles LaRota. For that reason, Prime Minister Philip Davis recently announced that NIB's rate will increase in July of 2024. During his contribution to the budget debate, Minister LaRota said the government is considering a rate increase every 2 years for a period of time to stabilize NIB's fund.
If the rate is 1.5%, the employee's portion rises from 5.9% to 6.65%, and the employee's portion raises from 3.9% to 4.65%. In the first year, paying the minimum weekly wage of $260 will increase the employer's portion from $15.34 to $17.29. Employees' contributions on the minimum weekly wage will increase from $10.14 to $12.09. For both the employer and the employee, this represents a difference of $1.95 per week.
While he used the 1.5% rate increase as an example, the minister told a local daily last night that the increase was agreed to by cabinet members. Add to that, the minister says the increase is less than the cost of a meal at a local restaurant and is a small price to pay to secure the pension's future.
The scheme survives and continues to serve its purposes as a social safety net for Bahamians from all walks of life. Over the last 10 years, the average number of pensioners being paid every month has increased by over 35%. This is driving the increase in benefit expenses, coupled with the fact that each year the average benefit per recipient increases as first-time pensioners are being paid higher benefits than in the prior years. We have 1 year to prepare for the rate increase, and legislation will be tabled in Parliament later this year to bring this into effect. Simultaneously, we intend to table changes to the NIB Act and regulations to strengthen our enforcement and improve compliance.
In 2020, NIB's contribution income was $224.9 million. However, it paid out $405.9 million. In 2022, the income was $290 million, but they paid out $353 million. Minister LaRota says this trend cannot be sustained in the long term. And finally, in this segment, residents affected by the Privy Council ruling on citizenship can expect the Passport Office to begin distributing passports in the coming weeks. This coming from Attorney General Senator Ryan Pinder, who gives an update on the legislative amendments.
So we've drafted the new passport rules that deal with Article 6 of the Constitution. We've vetted those rules now with the Passport Office, the Minister of Immigration, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who has portfolio responsibility of the Passport Office. They provided their comments, and we revised those and circulated a revised draft to that group yesterday. Effectively, if you are born in the Bahamas and were to unwed parents, so you were illegitimate at the time of birth, and your father was Bahamian, and that's reflected on your birth certificate, then the citizenship is naturally automatic because you presume the paternity through the birth certificate.
He goes on to say that the issue now comes with those who do not have a father listed on their birth certificate.
And so we're looking at a protocol involving DNA evidence in those circumstances. We're working with the Ministry of Health to properly define that protocol. As you can imagine, it has to be by way of certified laboratories and properly recognized DNA results and only down so many generations in these types of questions. Once that protocol is in place, then naturally we'll be able to proceed on the DNA element of it when the father is not on the birth certificate. We look to finalize that in short order. I suspect that the rules will be, final rules will be given to the minister within the week, if not early next week, for execution and for signature. and then the passport office will be able to proceed under that.
According to the ruling made in May, individuals born to unmarried Bahamian fathers and foreign mothers in the Bahamas are citizens at birth and do not have to wait until 18 years old to apply for citizenship. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.